and GCs. I declare the motion passed. Members' motion with no legislative effect. Mr. Tang Fei will move a motion on actively building Hong Kong into an international education hub by formulating a comprehensive strategic development blueprint for Hong Kong's education. 5 members will move amendments to the motion. This council will proceed to a joint debate on the motion and the amendments. Later, I will first call upon Mr. Tang Fei to speak and move the motion. Then I will call upon Professor William Wong, Mr. Stanley, Ms. Lillian KWOK, Mr. Frankie YICK, and Professor Priscilla LEUNG to speak in sequence, but they may not move the amendments at this stage. The joint debate now begins. Members who wish to speak, please press the request to speak button. And now call upon Mr. Tang Fei to speak and move the motion. Mr. Tang Fei. President, I move that the motion as printed on the agenda be passed on 29th of May 2023 at the 5th group study session on presidency stress that we should make sure that we can help open up the education system so that we can introduce overseas education resources and go global, and put to good use world-class education resources and innovative sectors so that China can be an influential and important education hub in the world. Education plays a pivotal role in supporting the world economy. We should build a study in China, study in Hong Kong brand so that we can enhance our soft power and have a greater say in the global stage. We are an international city. We are on the charts of international rankings of various nature. We also have 5 universities in the top 100 universities chart. Now, in OECD's annual education report, be it the World 100 or World 10 places for studying, we are never on the chart. In the US's AIIE, which is a very authoritative organization, report, there were 6.4 million overseas students in these countries. China accounted for only 3% of the overseas students. Again, we do not even reach the chart. Very rarely do we hear about anyone coming to Hong Kong to study. Now, it seems that we have yet to build our brand. According to data, published data, between 2018 to 2023, 71% of non-local students came from the mainland, 25% from other countries in Asia, and then 4% from non-Asian countries. That means we receive 30% of non-local students from other countries. But it seems that we have yet to build the brand of study in Hong Kong. In order to attract overseas students to come, it is important that we take it forward because it helps improve our image and enhance our soft power so that we have a greater say in the global stage. For non-local students, they should fund their own studies. They should not in any way make use of public funds. Whilst it may not be impressive to say that we should make education an industry, we should nevertheless enhance education so that we can enhance our soft power and so that we can also tap overseas resources. Now, this is, after all, not something new. According to NAFSA's report, between 2021-2022, about 1 million overseas students from around the world studied in the U.S. higher education institutions, contributing to $33.8 billion of GDP. So for some 33 billion US dollars, it's a kind of surplus in the Fed reserves. And in another published report, it blatantly states that non-local higher education students have brought economic benefits to the UK. Between 2018 and 2019, 270,000 non-local students studied in the universities in UK. In terms of economic benefits, these students brought in £2.8 billion at a cost of £2.9 billion pounds. That means they could generate net profit of up to £2.5 million. What about non-English speaking countries? In 2022, the Higher Education Authority in France published a report. According to this survey, targeting 10,000 students, overseas students contributed close to €5 billion in France. And after doing some maths, we're talking about €1.35 billion of benefits. In Sweden, likewise, there is a similar report. They usually receive overseas students in short-term exchange. Despite that, these students have brought in 3.5 billion to 4 billion kroners in Sweden. In Hong Kong, we receive more overseas students in higher education students, not so many in VPAT. At the moment, they study in Hong Kong via dependent visas. It is totally different from opening up our education system for self-financed students. In the 2023 policy address, the Chief Executive has mentioned that we need to build Hong Kong into an international education hub, and that for non-local students, the quota should be increased from 20 to 40%. This is a good start, but in light of fierce competition around the world, we need to implement more policies. So I suggest we take a multifarious approach so that we map out a strategic blueprint to make Hong Kong an international education hub. We need to further open up the post-secondary education and VPAC sectors so as to bring in vibrancy for the education sector that can generate economic income as well as driving the development of other countries and relieve manpower shortage across different sectors. That means we need to set a very clear goal. We need to promote the brand of study in China. We need to make education an industry. We also need to analyze the demands for different levels of education. We also need to come up with a corresponding strategy. Third, the government should proactively mount publicity, leveraging on the ETOs around the world. The government should proactively collect data. According to a report by News in October last year, in Kazakhstan and other countries of the former Soviet Union, they are striving to implement education reforms. We can make use of our teacher training mechanism to help them with a reform. This is a good start of going global. Now, for Southeast Asian countries with overseas Chinese communities, there is also a demand for studying in Hong Kong. Now, I went on a visit last year. I collected information about the demand for primary and secondary school places. Just like Singapore and UK, US, they also mount relevant publicity in terms of elite schools. Every summer, these prestigious and elite schools would participate in education fairs in Hong Kong. There is much more to be decided when it comes to going global. Next, we need to improve the visa and accommodation arrangements. We have limited space in Hong Kong. We don't have dormitories for higher education students, not to mention dormitories for secondary students. We have only 5 such secondary schools in Hong Kong with dormitories. So we can leverage on the community in providing the resources. Now, I looked at different proposals. They are feasible, but we need the government's help because, after all, we don't have a mechanism for providing apartments for students. If we open up the education system and allow overseas students to come, we need to be able to introduce a visa for parents to come as well. And if we're able to do that, we can attract more overseas students. We also need to improve the arrangements on scholarship and self-financed education. For students with means, they tend to go abroad to Western countries. For overseas students who are academically performing well, they may not have the means to study in Hong Kong. So I think the right way is to attract more overseas students to study on a self-financed basis. We need to make this use this at the starting point. We can also have banks arranging for student loans for overseas students as a way forward so that we can start a new business here. There are more solutions to the problems. I urge members to support my motion.
I now propose a question to you that Mr. Tang Fei's motion be passed. Professor William Wong. Thank you, Madam Deputy. I'd like to thank Tang Fei for moving the debate on actively building Hong Kong into an international education hub by formulating a comprehensive strategic development blueprint for Hong Kong's education, and other members for moving their amendments. In 2023 policy address, it is stated that Hong Kong should become an education hub for higher education. We do have the advantage to take up this role. We are at a geographical advantage at the center of Asia and also the gateway to China. It only takes around 4 hours of flight from nearby Asian countries to reach Hong Kong, and for those a bit further away, it takes around 5 hours. And Hong Kong is well advantageous as we use both Chinese and English, and those who speak English and Putonghua can still find it easy to study in Hong Kong. And we do have quite a few universities that rank amongst the world top 100. We are only a very small city, yet we have 5 universities in the world top 100. Each university provides high-quality education. With these advantages, Hong Kong can promote the Study in China brand. The original motion mentioned that education is important, and it is important to make China an influential education hub in the world. Hong Kong has a strong brand, and we can also help promote the brand of Study in China, one of which is in my amendment to actually work with mainland universities to jointly offer double degree programs to enhance the attractiveness to overseas students. Students will be able to immerse into both cultures and can be recognized by both the mainland and Hong Kong education institutions. This would hold huge appeal to overseas students. And it can strengthen Hong Kong's edge as an international city because graduates will be able to further their career on both sides. The policy address last year also talked about building a northern metropolis university town. I'm sure that prestigious universities would also find it attractive. Many mainland universities are well known around the world. If they can work together with local universities to move into the northern metropolis university town and to attract overseas students, then there would be a huge appeal, and Hong Kong would act as a platform. The chief executive suggested Hong Kong to become an international education hub. Hong Kong has always been promoting itself as being an education hub, and this should also include primary and secondary students, vocational and professional training. Let me use a DSE as an example. the DSE results can apply for local universities and also apply to over 600 universities on the mainland. Students can use the DSE results to enroll in these universities, and this can attract mainland students and Southeast Asian students to take the DSE and also study on the mainland. Primary and secondary students can also apply for such programs when they study in Hong Kong. I so submit. Mr. Stanley. Madam Deputy, building an international education hub is very important, and this is actually pivotal in building the soft power of our country. Hong Kong thus must take the responsibility to leverage on our advantages. Mr. Tang Fei suggested to improve the strategy of opening up in education and to put good use world-class educational resources so as to make Hong Kong an important education hub in the world. I fully support Mr. Tang Fei's original motion and also support the amendment by Professor William Wong on moving forward the objective of becoming a leading country in education by 2035. So this is something that I also wanted to put in my amendment. We have to help our education go global. Hence, the government should promote higher education and to broaden our system to strengthen our position in the international arena. I also hope that the strategic development blueprint will also attach equal importance to vocational and professional training. We should not neglect VPET because Hong Kong can become more comprehensive with the addition of VPET. Currently, there are 22 higher education institutes offering diploma courses, and recently we have one being enhanced to the position of university. Out of the rankings in Asia, there are actually a few universities ranking amongst the top 100. We have Hong Kong U ranking number 2, CU 10, UST 15, CityU 17, and PolyU 23rd, and BU 64th. This shows Hong Kong's universities being very prestigious in the world. With such an advantage, Hong Kong should fully utilize this advantage and to build the education brand and to actually bring in more high quality education and also to go global with our educational resources. We must also make our education become more influential so that we'll have a greater say in the world. And that can actually resolve the problem in education in the world. In the past, Hong Kong has been focusing too much on cultural education, neglecting vocational and professional education. But now we see that there is a need for VPET in the labor market. Governments over the world are all trying to promote VPET to provide more career pathways for young people and to create more value for the society. The reform in VPET is very important to our development. If the government does not understand this, then we would lose our VPET position in the world and undermine the role of being an international education hub. We must try to formulate a comprehensive strategic development blueprint and target our education in areas of need so that Hong Kong can become an important hub in the world and that will be able to present compelling stories of China and Hong Kong. I support Mr. Tang Fei's original motion and the amendment moved by Professor William Wong. Ms. Lillian KWOK. Thank you, Madam Deputy. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Tang Fei's motion of actively building Hong Kong into an international education hub by formulating a comprehensive strategic development blueprint for Hong Kong's education. In 2020, education only accounted for 1.4% in our GDP, so that actually lags behind Australia and the US, UK of only 6.3% and US of 5.67%. Hong Kong's education is well known in the world, and we actually have 5 universities that are amongst the world top 100. Hong Kong actually has the capability to become an international education hub. President Xi said that everybody could become a master in their own trade, and so this is very important to our development. We must try to enhance the awareness of VPET in Hong Kong, and currently the government is now attaching more importance to vocational and professional education. VPET is actually something not to be forgotten in the building of Hong Kong into an international education hub. We actually see that Hong Kong's qualification is actually well recognized by many accreditation organizations around the world, and we must actually look for more accreditation. Therefore, I make the following suggestions. First of all, we must, as soon as possible, try to have mutual recognition with our mainland counterparts. Hong Kong and China should actually recognize the different qualification framework, because without such a platform, it hinders talents from moving around on the mainland and in Hong Kong. Therefore, we must try to develop this sort of mutual recognition as soon as possible. Those from the mainland can come to Hong Kong to seek training and be accredited, and then go back to their homes to take up this career, and that would actually enhance the appeal of studying in Hong Kong. We have to look into which courses are more mature and to set up a GBA standards so that such could be mutually recognized. Secondly, we must also ensure that other countries would recognize our programs as well. Hong Kong's education has always been well reputed. DSE is also now being recognized around the world. We can actually draw reference from DSE to try to seek recognition from other countries so that they would also recognize our qualification framework. And this can provide more options for people from around the world to come study in Hong Kong. As many graduates are eligible to stay behind in Hong Kong after studying, then this can also help encourage them to stay. Thirdly, we could look at the recent development and see that the government has been working on promoting VPET. The government can also review it and further enhance it. For example, we can nurture talents that are lacking, and also to work with our mainland counterparts to provide suitable programs. And we should take out obsolete courses and then look into the latest trend to promote Hong Kong and mainland in mutually recognizing our programs. We would then be able to enhance VPET and also be able to nurture a education hub and to really be able to reach the objective raised by President Xi to tell good China stories. Here, I would like all of you to support Hong Kong to become an international education hub, to support Mr. Tang Fei's original motion and all amendments raised by other members. Thank you.
Mr. Frankie YICK. President, we have 8 UGC-funded universities in Hong Kong, 5 of which are on the top 100 universities list. The R&D work of the universities are widely recognized by the global community. Hong Kong is a cultural melting pot. Students here can learn about different cultures. We are also very advantageous when it comes to a geographical location. In just a 4 hours flight, we can reach different destinations. We have the prerequisite of attracting overseas students. We have the prerequisite to build ourselves into an international education hub. This can help broaden students' horizons. It can also provide the necessary manpower resources to support the development of different sectors. The Liberal Party and myself support Mr. Tang Fei's motion and the amendments. In building Hong Kong into an international education hub, we should also place emphasis on developing VPET in Hong Kong. To make Hong Kong an international hub for post-secondary education, the policy address last year provided that the scholarship amounts will be increased, and then for non-local students, the in post-secondary education, the percentage will be increased to 40%. There is also a relaxation of the for students to take up part-time jobs in Hong Kong. It is important to take forward VPET as well. Apart from academic pursuits, now, around the world, many countries are attaching ever more importance to VPET because many advanced economies face a manpower crunch. It is necessary to groom talents in VPET in order to provide a talent pool. For example, we have very severe manpower shortage when it comes to mechanics in the aviation, shipping industries, etc. There is a succession gap. This is all due to our skilled education system. In May last year, in light of manpower shortage in some of the sectors, the government rolled out sector-specific labor importation schemes and enhanced the supplementary labor scheme. Labor can be imported for the aviation industry to relieve the shortage of mechanics. However, so far we are unable to recruit a single one of them for the aviation industry. Likewise, in other countries, there is a prevailing manpower shortage. Apart from building ourselves into an international education hub, we should enhance VPET training so as to provide multiple progression pathways for our young people so that we can continue to groom the necessary manpower to relieve shortage in Hong Kong. Take car mechanics as an example. They are no longer menial jobs requiring manual labor. Apart from holding wrenches and spanners, they also require to learn more about electronics, etc. The Liberal Party strongly supports the government's latest initiative. We believe more resources should be set aside to promote VPET starting from junior secondary level. Craftsmanship should be included. Each student should be equipped with at least one skill so as to enhance this area of training. And then we can also make these technical subjects professional subjects. In order to build Hong Kong into an international education hub, we need to ensure that there is diversity. so as to groom talents to support different sectors' developments. I support the motion and the amendments. Professor Priscilla LEUNG, I support the motion as well as all the amendments. Now, to tell a good story of the law-based governance in China, we need to step up efforts in grooming talents for international laws. Now, this is a chance for Hong Kong. Are we ready? In order to set up Hong Kong as the base for training international legal talents, we need to get prepared. This is the chance for us. Now, presidency once emphasized that our country must be able to have a greater say in the global stage. We must make continuous efforts to promote international legal education and cultivate talents in international law. That means we need to groom the relevant talents, as this also hinges on our country's and the party's interests. Now, I am happy to learn that once again our country's leader has emphasized the importance of law-based governance. Are we fully prepared in this regard as our country promotes itself to be a leading country in the world, to have a greater say in the global stage? Hong Kong plays a pivotal role. Since the 90s, I have been taking part in promoting law-based governance in China. I told the good stories of China to the world. I also took part in editing the bilingual journal with a collection of mainland judgments. I also took part in the training of judges. Now, when our country joined the World Trade Organization in 2001, a systematic approach has been taken in grooming international legal talents. Hong Kong is an international city. However, in this area, it seems that we're lagging behind. We have 3 law schools in Hong Kong, all focusing on the common law system. Now, the country is giving us this opportunity, but are we prepared? We need to have regard to the national strategy. There is a lot of emphasis on our brand. We have at least 2.8 billion people who are Chinese speaking. Before and even after 1997, the 3 law schools have all along emphasized the common law system. The City University started a course in the 1990s on Chinese laws. But it seems that when it comes to international law, we are just making a start. In 1965, the United Nations started training on international legal talents. In Hague, the international institution, every year, renowned international legal scholars would be invited to join this program. Together with my husband, I had the opportunity to deliver a speech in this institution in Hague. I felt honored because all the judges called me professor. I was very happy. That is why we need to take a macro view in grooming international legal talents. I understand that the Hong Kong International Legal Talents Training Academy will be established. We need to give honor to all the speakers who will be coming to teach. Now, the 3 law schools and the 2 legal professional bodies don't seem to be fully prepared. I hope that this is not a pork barrel exercise. We should be able to attract global esteemed scholars to come to help train international legal talents, so that likewise these scholars will feel honored coming here.
Secretary for Education. Deputy President, I thank Mr. Tang Fei for his motion. Let me also thank Professor William WONG, Mr. Stanley, Mr. Frankie, YICK, Professor Priscilla, LEUNG, and Ms. Lillian KWOK for their amendments. Members share their thoughts on actively building Hong Kong into an international education hub by formulating a comprehensive strategic development blueprint for Hong Kong's education. This allows us to have an in-depth discussion about what's proposed under the 2023 policy address, which lists measures on building Hong Kong into an international education hub. I now outline the government's strategy and measures to support our country's strategy on education and give a preliminary reply to members' amendments. President Xi Jinping pointed out that building a strong education system starts with tertiary education. He called for faster efforts to create world-leading universities and disciplines where our country shines with Chinese characteristics. Innovation should focus on global cutting-edge technologies and our country's key strategic needs. He proposed opening up education for our country to bring in world-class education resources and innovative factors, and to go global. This will turn our country into an influential and vital global education center. We have been delivering what our country needs with our strength. We will support our country's education strategy and the Belt and Road Initiative. We will also seize the opportunities from the rapid growth of the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area and nurture the talent needed for Hong Kong's development as the 8 centers under the 14th National Five-Year Plan. Mr. Tang Fei's motion ties in with the 2023 policy address, which is about a holistic long-term plan for better education in Hong Kong. This is to turn Hong Kong into an international education hub and a cradle of future talent that fosters people-to-people ties. Hong Kong boasts a diverse culture. We also try to foster people-to-people ties so that we can contribute to our country. Hong Kong boasts a diverse culture, first-rate education infrastructure, world-renowned universities, distinguished research talent, robust research capabilities, and world-leading teaching quality. We have 22 degree-awarding tertiary institutions. 8 of them are universities funded by the University Grants Committee. 5 such institutions are among the world's top 100. This means Hong Kong is a cluster of some of the world's best universities. Our quality education is widely known and recognized by the global community. The government supports our country's education strategy by building on Hong Kong's existing strength. Hong Kong will adopt 4 key strategies with a raft of measures and set out a blueprint to develop Hong Kong into an international education hub. First, we promote collaboration in higher education between Hong Kong and the mainland to bring out the best in each side. The measures include running joint programs in the GBA's mainland cities to bring Hong Kong's top-notch education resources into those GBA cities. This way, Hong Kong can leverage its strength to meet our country's needs. The United International College, jointly run by the Hong Kong Baptist University and Beijing Normal University in Zhuhai, the Chinese University of Hong Kong's Shenzhen campus, the Hong Kong's University of Science and Technology's Guangzhou campus, and the City University of Hong Kong's Dongguan campus are working on such programs. With the support of the Ministry of Education and the coordination of education authorities, Hong Kong's tertiary institutions have formed alliances with those in Beijing, Shanghai, Guangdong, Jiangsu, and Shandong. This measure pools quality education resources in teaching and research and improves cooperative mechanisms. Tertiary institutions can join hands in pursuing regional partnerships of greater depth and breadth to contribute to our country's drive to build an excellent education system. Second, we encourage tertiary institutions to spearhead efforts to foster international exchanges and partnerships with the goal of bringing in top-notch institutions from the mainland and abroad. We welcome the resumption of global academic events hosted by our local universities. These occasions are attended by the staff and renowned scholars from universities everywhere. To promote internationalization, UGC-funded universities launch annual recruitment or promotion drives overseas to attract more visa students to our undergraduate programs. With COVID behind us, the UGC supports universities in resuming and stepping up promotion by providing the heads of universities committee with $20.47 million in the 2022-25 triennium for overseas events and recruitment drives. To broaden students' horizons and show them opportunities in the mainland and abroad, the UGC will put an extra $100 million into the funding scheme for mainland and global engagement and student learning experience from the 2023-24 academic year. This measure encourages universities to provide more exchange and learning opportunities outside Hong Kong for students to learn about national development and global affairs. As at the end of November 2022, UGC-funded universities had signed over 2,600 agreements on student exchanges with institutions around the world. This is way higher than the pre-COVID level. Third, education is a key investment in the future. The current term government pays particular attention to our expanding capacity and improving quality for our local tertiary institutions so that they can attract more non-local students who will foster an internationalized environment that offers diverse cultural experience. As we scale up Hong Kong's higher education, we want to broaden students' global horizons and give them a range of options and pathways. These measures include raising the non-local student quota at government-funded tertiary institutions, increasing the places under the Belt and Road Scholarship to attract more outstanding non-local students to Hong Kong for studies, and going full steam ahead with tertiary education in the northern metropolis. We will fully leverage the boundary location of the northern metropolis by pursuing development for a new international INT city. By synergizing with the innovation and technology projects nearby, we will build a key cluster of tertiary institutions to take forward the Northern Metropolis University Town. The goal is to attract top-tier education institutions from the mainland and overseas to set up campuses or joint projects in Hong Kong. The University Town will enable resource sharing and partnerships with industries. This will lead to greater synergy. Fourth, we plan ahead for higher education by setting goals and indicators. The development of higher education must be aligned with our national strategies. We encourage UGC-funded universities to meet the community's needs by nurturing talent and creating strong impetus for Hong Kong's growth. In planning for the 2022-25 triennium, the government encouraged universities to be strategic in their plans. To support social development, the government requires universities to offer a certain percentage of undergraduate programs on STEAM, that is science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics, and the 8 centers under the National 14th Five-Year Plan. This is to nurture talent with different fields of expertise so that we can strengthen our country through science and education. In short, the government fosters collaboration between tertiary institutions from the mainland and Hong Kong, promotes international exchanges and partnerships, supports local tertiary institutions to expand capacity and improve quality, and plans ahead by setting goals and indicators. These 4 strategies go hand in hand with other measures: higher quota for non-local students, more scholarships, more hostel places, encouraging joint programs, funding for exchanges, more opportunities for non-local students to stay in Hong Kong, taking forward the Northern Metropolis and fine-tuning triennium plans. With these 8 measures and the 4 strategies, we seek to devise an education development blueprint to develop Hong Kong into an international education hub so that we can nurture talent. Professor William Wong's amendment mentions encouraging the tertiary institutions of Hong Kong and the mainland to jointly offer double-degree programs. The government encourages Hong Kong's institutions to work with top-notch non-local universities to achieve higher academic and research standards. UGC-funded universities, which follow the principle of institutional autonomy, have partnered with institutions from overseas and the mainland in different ways, such as joint programs, academic and research exchanges, and student exchanges. These partnerships have been fruitful. Hong Kong's universities with mainland campuses also run double major programs, with some courses taken in Hong Kong and the rest completed in the GBA's mainland cities. For example, CUHK in Hong Kong and its Shenzhen campus jointly run the 2+2 bachelor's degree programs. HKUST and its Guangzhou campus offer mutually recognized programs and transferable credits. These arrangements enrich the learning and internship experience of students. This helps nurture and bring together innovative talent that can help the GBA go global. Mr. Stanley, Mr. Frankie, YICK, and Ms. Lillian KWOK's amendments bring up promoting vocational and professional education and training, or VPET. This is to meet the goal set by President Xi. He proposed an integrated approach to vocational education, bringing together vocational and general education, industry and education, and science and education. This will nurture a steady stream of high-caliber technical workers who are master craftsmen. This goal is in line with the national policy of high-quality development in modern vocational education. The current term government is committed to nurturing a larger pool of talent well-versed in applied skills for Hong Kong and our country. VPET offers young people of different aspirations high-quality and diversified pathways with multiple entry and exit points. VPET gives young people skills and knowledge needed for life and for work. This prepares them for further studies, work, and lifelong learning. Our strategy is fostering industry institutional collaboration and diversified development. This means measures at secondary schools and beyond in a multi-pronged approach. We promote VPET as a pathway parallel to academic education. The government also actively promotes VPET partnerships with the mainland. One example is actively looking at mutual recognition of sub-degree qualifications. This is to give VPET graduates more options and nurture high-caliber talent with applied skills for Hong Kong, for the GBA, and our country. To raise the status of VPET at the degree level so that young people aspiring to a career in vocational and technical fields can succeed in life, the Chief Executive's 2023 policy address proposed setting up universities of applied sciences. There are measures to encourage self-financing tertiary institutions to work in this direction and plan accordingly to create impetus for Hong Kong's growth. Professor Priscilla LEUNG's amendment brings up training legal talent. The Department of Justice will set up a dedicated office and expert group in 2024 to take forward the establishment of the Hong Kong International Legal Talent Training Academy. Training legal talent is how we further take part in advancing the Belt and Road Initiative over the next decade. This is also how we contribute to the development of the rule of law in our country and leverage our unique strength and status as the gateway between our country and the world in legal services. President, I so submit. Thank you.
Mr. Andrew Lam. Deputy President, first of all, I thank Mr. Tang Fei for the original motion and the 5 members for the amendments. The 14th five-year plan sets out the positioning of Hong Kong as the 8 centers. In order to achieve this objective, we need manpower resources. Well, progress has recently been made in attracting overseas talents to come to Hong Kong, but more should be done. That means in the long term, we should work on improving education. Many people aspire to studying in Hong Kong. Well, mainland netizens often comment on social media platform that Hong Kong's education system is highly internationalized. It is a very inclusive system that respects students. According to the Times Higher Education published report, 5 universities in Hong Kong are in the top 100. In Singapore, there are only 2 on the Times Higher Education World University Rankings 2024. In South Korea, only 3 universities. According to data, starting from 2019, every year we received some 4,000 to 5,000 students from Asia. We also received some 700 students from outside Asia, accounting for about 30% of all non-local students. Now, in last year's policy address, it is provided that starting from 2024-25, the admission of non-local students to higher education will go up from 20 to 40%. This is a crucial link to enhancing the Belt and Road Initiative. It also plays a very important role in building people-to-people bond with Belt and Road countries. It also lays a good foundation for Hong Kong to be an international education hub. We should leverage on our advantages. in building Hong Kong as an international education hub so as to meet the manpower demand in the medium to long term. We can also contribute to our country in grooming talents. By grooming talents, we can also provide a boost to business and cultural sectors, etc. Because education is not just about passing on knowledge and skills. It's also how we form our culture and values. Our presidency in 2022 quoted from a Chinese classical saying that we should achieve harmony. We should take a macro view and build a shared future for all. We should encompass the traditional Chinese culture and groom talents in this regard. This is the way to go for Hong Kong. Now for Mr. Tang Fei's motion, I think by improving the education system in Hong Kong, we can also drive the economic development for different sectors. Education is not just about grooming talents. It is also about building a network for international cultural exchange. It is also about connecting people from around the world. It's about the exchange of culture with different civilization. We should continue to have exchange with different cultures, and we should contribute to our country and the world to build a shared future for all.
Dr. Teck Chi-Yuen, Deputy President, Hong Kong is taking the right step in developing into an international education hub. Dr. Donald Tsang proposed turning education into an industry. Our universities are prestigious institutions internationally. We have 5 universities in Hong Kong in the world's top 100. Our universities can attract global research talent to come here. We can also bring in students from everywhere. So this is what it truly means to bring in people and going global. So Hong Kong's universities are here to help us connect with the world. Drawing global scholars and research personnel here means we need to maintain academic freedom and institutional autonomy. But there have been all kinds of incidents involving universities. Students' unions are being marginalized. Take a look at the Lingnan University, City University, etc. Students' unions are seeing their position being weakened. Students no longer take part in university affairs. When SUs try to organize events, they face problems. Universities used to be on good terms with their respective students' unions. They work together in improving teaching environment. Universities serve as a platform for students to learn. SUs are also places, or they were places, that nurtured leaders in business and politics. Marginalized students' bodies and restrictions on student participation are bad for universities. Institutional autonomy is increasingly being interfered. The LEGCO has passed a few bills making changes to university councils. Take the KWOK as an example. We used to have a 50-50 split of staff members and external members at KWOK Council. Now people get the impression that outsiders get to dominate KWOK's affairs. That leads to unnecessary interference in the KWOK's affairs. After the KWOK Council revamp, a vice president was sacked. The vice chancellor also resigned recently. These developments lead to worries that there is political interference in the university's affairs that would put people off when they consider coming to Hong Kong. And then there is a lack of transparency in management changes at universities. Some universities revamped their programs and faculties, but in the process of these changes, university management failed to demonstrate transparency and respect different opinions. That fuels worries about the over-concentration of powers in the management that also weakens public participation. At universities, lecturers, professors, and other members of universities should take part in the process because that's what will uphold academic freedom. The insights from faculty and students can be helpful when management neglects other stakeholders. Then resentment may emerge, and that will threaten academic freedom. An institute released the 2024 university rankings. Hong Kong's universities fell in ranking. Let's look at the past few years. We can see less freedom, less room for universities now. Let's look at the national security law. Scholars want to steer clear of the NSL, so they leave their jobs or make changes to their course content. From 2021 to 22, there was a wave of departures. UGC figures show from 2021 to 2022, in our 8 UGC-funded universities, more than 360 scholars left their jobs. The wastage rate is 7.4%, the highest since 1997. The failure of our universities to maintain academic freedom and institutional free autonomy will fail to attract talent and fail to go global. I so submit. Mr. Chen Xiu-Hong. Deputy President, I support Mr. Tang Fei's motion on developing Hong Kong into an international education hub and devising a comprehensive blueprint for our education. The 20th Party Congress proposes to develop a strong education system for our country by 2035. President Xi also proposed last year opening up our education so that we can bring in education resources and go global. He also proposed creating the brand of studying in China and telling good stories of China. Hong Kong is a gateway between our country and the world. It's only right for Hong Kong to contribute to this cause. Hong Kong is where the East meets West. 5 universities from Hong Kong are among the world's top 100. Each university also enjoys a certain degree of institutional autonomy. Our universities do not impose entry restrictions. We can attract students from different places. Many students in Hong Kong pursue studies in Europe and the US. Those places export their education services. Education is an industry in those places because visa students generate economic benefits. We have what it takes to be an education hub. So we should also consider turning our education into an industry. The government should streamline rules. This means relaxing the non-local student quota at universities and also relaxing the rules for non-local students to take up part-time jobs. We should export university services. This will bring economic benefits. This can also help tell good stories of Hong Kong and connect with the world. The government is trying to bring in talent from different places. There are various talent admission schemes. When these bright minds consider whether to come to Hong Kong, they think about education for their children. The Immigration Department's figures show as at October last year, under various admission schemes, nearly 120,000 applications were approved. 81,000 dependent visas were granted. 47,000 were minors. This shows many incoming talents bring along their children. A comprehensive plan and support measures in education in Hong Kong can draw more overseas talent to Hong Kong. Several amendments from members mention VPAT, or vocational and professional education and training. They argue for pushing for accreditation or recognition from other jurisdictions for our VPAT. The policy address last year also proposed setting up universities of applied science so that those universities can offer degree programs. This way, people in each field can achieve success. I support this. It wasn't all smooth sailing for me. I went through the higher diploma stream and then I got my degree. Getting vocational education right, giving students training in vocational skills will help make our students more competitive. Of course, we should also diversify our industries. This will give our young people more options in employment. Many young people want to pick up a skill through vocational education so that they can enter different trade and become craftsmen. But parents don't know much about vocational education. To make VPET a success, we have to change parents' mindset about having their children go to traditional universities. So we need education and publicity targeted at parents. Finally, vocational education and training talent should be industry-oriented. We need to train up the right people for industries, and industries follow the changing demand so that people can pursue their careers, and then we can integrate industry and education. As so submit. Thank you. Mr. Stanley Tan. Thank you, Deputy President. The policy address proposes developing Hong Kong into an international education hub. To make this reality, we need to be international. We need to bring in students from different places. We also need international partnerships for our universities. The same goes for our programs. They need to be up to scratch and on international standards. We have the 8 UGC-funded universities. We also have self-financing tertiary institutions and vocational schools. Many of our programs are widely acclaimed internationally. Now we have MBA programs from Hong Kong that rank very much on top internationally, and that's our forte. To strengthen our edge, we need to step up the partnerships between Hong Kong's universities and their overseas institutions. Take textile and fashion as an example. Hong Kong Polytechnic University has this department in textiles and fashion. In 2020, it was upgraded into a fashion and textile faculty. There was a magazine that ranked that department as the 3rd largest fashion school in Asia. To help our fashion school go global, we will need partnerships with places like Paris and Milan. This way, our fashion and textile education can become truly international. And then we can drive industrial development, and then we can foster trade that will yield economic benefits. Now, on turning Hong Kong into a hub, Hong Kong can work with other GBA mainland cities and bring out the best in each place. Many years ago, Hong Kong started exploring the Southeast Asian market. We know what the market there is like. We have one country, two systems as our unique edge. We should also support the various GBA initiatives like the GBA Greater Bay Area. That way we can play our role as a super connector. The same should apply to education. Each university should be specializing in a particular area. The Ministry of Education issued a document. It's a proposal on education. The document lays down principles. It's about making plans, having specific focuses. As universities upgrade their faculties and departments, the government should help coordinate the work. And we should set up task forces with the mainland. We should also leverage the edge of each university so that there's no duplication, no overlapping. Let's make good use to nurture our talent. Education is an investment, so let's look at returns. We should use the number of non-local students as a meter. We should also measure the contribution of our universities to our country. I support the scheme that is a VPAS, Vocational Professional Admission Scheme. This can help meet the manpower needs of our economy. Non-local graduates who pick up vocational skills will have 1 year's time to find a job in their respective area. That can contribute to our country. Now, to make VPAS work, we first have to fix the recognition of VPAT qualifications. Otherwise, we cannot get non-local students here. When our VPAT graduates want to go to the mainland, they have to complete the mainland programs and then they have to earn the mainland qualifications. I agree with Ms. Lillian KWOK on the point that we should work with different places to get them to recognize our VPAT qualifications. The government should work with the mainland so that people who take Hong Kong's exams can earn the mainland qualifications. That will give our graduates more opportunities. This way, in this new era, Hong Kong's young people can contribute to Hong Kong and to our country. So I support the motion.
Ms. Yong Ho Yen. Madam Deputy, I speak in support of Mr. Tang Fei's motion on actively building Hong Kong into an international education hub by formulating a comprehensive strategic development blueprint for Hong Kong's education, and also support amendments moved by other members. Hong Kong has its geographical location as an advantage, and we also have high-quality education institutes, and therefore it is a strong foundation for Hong Kong to become an international education hub. Hence, the government should formulate a comprehensive strategic development blueprint to attract students and teachers to invest in this industry. Many members have already talked about VPET and given their suggestions. After completing university, I studied a short-term course, a 2-year course in a German-run school. This was also a sort of VPET education. This is actually a curriculum for German students. 95% of the students were actually Germans. To become an international education hub, to become more multi-diversified, we must ensure that our programs are multi-diversified. There are actually quite few courses like this. This course is for German students who, after completing high school, come to Hong Kong to continue with their VPET education. So 3 days would be a sort of internship. The school would actually organize or arrange work for you. So you would come for the course 2 days a week and work for 3 days a week. 95% of these students are Germans, and 2 of them are studying German in Baptist University in Hong Kong, and I together, so a total of only 3 local students. So this can actually attract students to come from abroad when they know that Hong Kong can actually give you the opportunity of working in a well-recognized international company. That would have an appeal for overseas students. This is actually a very good course and a good model for us. We can actually do this in Hong Kong. In terms of VPET education, I hope the government could attach more importance to it, especially in matching up students with jobs. Well, on diversity, I observed that in some of the amendments moved by Mr. Stanley and Ms. Lillian KWOK, they have also added in telling China's stories well, spreading China's experience, making China's first hot, and enabling Chinese education to be more influential and have a greater say in the world. So when we want Hong Kong to become an international education hub and we want to attract overseas students, we could perhaps provide a sort of like KOL courses in Hong Kong to perhaps to nurture overseas students to come over to Hong Kong to promote Hong Kong's unique appeal. I know that there are similar courses in HKU, but they are very short-term courses. The Metropolitan University also offers a similar course. This is actually a good starting point to attract overseas students to come for a unique educational experience. I see that Hong Kong APA ranks 13 in the world and actually ranks first in Asia for performing arts education. If we could actually promote arts education, then this could create an appeal for overseas students to come for an arts education. We hope that we will also be able to promote music and art education in Hong Kong to help us better integrate into the Greater Bay Area and to become more internationalized in building an education hub. Mr. Chan Kim-po, thank you. General Secretary Xi emphasized the importance of education on many different occasions, that when education in a country thrives, the country will also thrive, and Hong Kong should become an international education hub. Hong Kong needs to set up a clear roadmap and create a development blueprint. And to speed up this process, I'd like to thank Mr. Tang Fei for moving this motion to create an opportunity for us to discuss this topic. Currently, VPET education is a bit lacking in Hong Kong. We should put more focus on VPET, and it should actually be in a dual development with regular degree programs. We should set up a clear career path for VPET education so that they could also be seen on par with degree holders. We should also enhance the resources in VPET and to invite well-known international companies to set up VPET courses in Hong Kong and to nurture talents, and also to set up strong partnership with the industry to provide internship opportunities. We should also help them match up with jobs so that students will be able to have a job opportunity immediately after graduation. We could also enhance our equipment of overseas students abroad. Hong Kong is the only city with 5 universities in the world top 100. Of course, there is still room for improvement. Other than setting up exhibition booths in the international education expos, we should also go global and work with institutes in Asia to promote our education. We could also work with our mainland counterparts, such as to set up education scholarship and to provide subsidies for research to attract high-quality students to come into Hong Kong. We should also encourage overseas students to stay in Hong Kong after graduation. This can also bring in new innovation and can also act as a bridge for cultural collaboration. Many of them are not clear with the career paths in Hong Kong, and they're at a loss of what to do after graduation. Therefore, we must be more proactive in providing support to overseas graduates, such as participating in educational expos, and also to provide arrangements for overseas graduates. We should encourage students to stay behind in Hong Kong, and this could help us retain our talents. To become an international education hub, it is important to formulate a comprehensive strategic development blueprint. Through traditional education and collaboration between the industry and the institute, we could attract more talents to come into Hong Kong and to create a better learning environment and to provide support for graduates that could help us to contribute to Hong Kong being an international education hub. Reverend Peter Kuhn. Madam Deputy, Hong Kong is at an unique advantage where East meets West. There are many high-quality educational institutes, and this has attracted many people to study in Hong Kong. Hong Kong also owns 5 universities in the world top 100, and we can see that we are leading in research as well. So we're well equipped to become an international education hub. But to meet these goals, the government must try to attract students from over the world. First of all, we must raise awareness abroad. Currently, there is not enough advertisement on Hong Kong's education. The universities actually do this themselves, and therefore the promotion has not been done ideally. The universities should work hand in hand with the government to set up education exhibitions abroad and to try to recruit students. In order for people to understand Hong Kong as being an international education hub, the government should also try to attract students from the Belt and Road countries, and especially to try to recruit top talents from institutes to come over to Hong Kong. We should also provide adequate support and resources for the tertiary institutes. There is still a student quota at the moment. That means that we are actually letting our top talents go. We should try to recruit and retain top talents. And non-local students can actually have their quota raised from 20% to 40%, and that could help us recruit more high-quality students to come to Hong Kong. With the increase in number of students, there is a higher need for dorms and other resources. Therefore, the government must provide support for overseas students to enhance the capability in attracting overseas students. All along, there has been a lack of accommodation for university students. The government has been providing subsidies, and 15 such dorms have been built. As of June last year, only 2 have been completed, and 3 of them are still in its advanced works stage. It is very difficult to meet the demand of a dormitory at the current moment. Even local students do not have enough accommodation. With such a lack of accommodation, the universities find it difficult to recruit more overseas students. I suggest that the government try to resolve this problem as soon as possible and to increase the number of dormitories as soon as possible. The government can consider using hotels as dormitory rooms. Lastly, currently in Hong Kong, only 1% of non-local graduates stay behind in Hong Kong after graduation. To retain these talents is also a very important strategy. The government should provide more guidance to students, and then to open up their internship opportunities, such as to consider the arrangements for non-local graduates to be extended to higher diploma graduates, so that overseas students could stay behind for internship opportunities and help them with life planning. After they graduate, then it could help them in their job opportunities. I so submit and support all the amendments and the original motion.
Dr. Chao-Man Kwong. Thank you, Deputy President. I thank the Chief Executive and the Education Bureau for incorporating the views of the higher education sector, including my views in the policy address for building Hong Kong into an international education hub. For the 8 UGC-funded universities, the admission quota of non-local students has also been relaxed. The government has shown resolve, and I appreciate that. Be it relaxing the admission quota of non-local students or developing the Northern Metropolis University town, these are measures to build Hong Kong as an international education hub for a start, but we still need a package of measures to support the initiative in the longer term. We must be able to compete with other places for talents. We must improve the education system so that we can raise our profile and tell good stories of Hong Kong. The SAR government is in the leading role in relaxing the admission quota of non-local students. The Education Bureau should be the coordinating bureau. The Productivity Council as well as the Trade Development Council should all chip in to promote Hong Kong as an education hub, to promote our higher education sector. The Team Hong Kong should be set up so that we can lead delegations to promote Hong Kong's higher education sector to the world, including the Middle East and other places. I think that the government has made the first step, which is the right step. In the longer term, funds should be set aside to support British Council and other similar organizations to attract overseas students. We should also collaborate with other higher education institutions in taking forward the 2+2 scholarships. This can help enhance collaboration. We can also attract elite students from developing countries and those better off to come and study. Now, for institutions, they should also draw up feasible measures for creating a culture of respect and inclusiveness so that we can truly be internationalized. For students from the mainland and the Belt and Road countries, they may easily blend in, but apart from classroom interactions, local and non-local students seldom interact. This is where the institutions should come in. There should be high table dinners and other peer support groups so as to enhance inclusiveness in school campuses. International students can help local students broaden their horizons. There can be better networking for students. This can help enhance students' competitiveness. As I learned from the institutions, they want to increase the admission quota for non-local students, including the self-financed institutions that are not included in the current initiative. If we're able to provide better support for non-local students, including their accommodation arrangements, we can further relax the admission quota of non-local students from 20 to 40, even 60 to 80%. I support the idea of attracting self-financed students as they don't take up the places reserved for local students. They don't use public funds. Well, as the government is minded to set up the University of Applied Sciences, these self-financed institutions should be given more support. They should make use of quality but limited education resources. The government should also do away with the 10% admission restriction. In order to take forward the policy of building Hong Kong as an international education hub, we must do more so that we can do justice to what President said, and that is to make our country more influential in terms of the education sector. Dr. Wendy Hong. In the 2023 policy address provides that we should build Hong Kong into an international education hub starting from 2024-25. For the 8 UGC-funded universities, the admission quota of non-local students should be doubled to 12 to 40%. Now, it is strategically significant to develop Hong Kong into an international education hub. I agree with other members' suggestions, but I'm more concerned about the funds that will be used to support this initiative. Now, some members talked about developing education as an industry to reap an income. However, we are not able to even recover costs, not to mention making a profit. In 2023, we spent $100 billion on education. Together with welfare and healthcare, they form the three major expenditure items of public spending. In the past decade, we increased education expenditure by 21.6%. That means per year a 4% increase. As for income per year, we only increased the income by 1.4%. So that means a 1.4% increase for GDP growth per year. Apparently, education spending far exceeds government revenue and GDP growth. That is also the major reason why we have recorded consecutive deficits. Last week, I submitted a written question on fees charged on non-local students by UGC-funded universities. I asked about the criteria. According to the Education Bureau's reply, as per the current policy, the government requires UGC-funded universities to charge a level of fees that could help recover all the expenses. Well, as I understand, that means extra marginal cost, but not total cost. I further put this question to the UGC and got a reply. That means cost comes with two elements, research as well as cost of teaching, and only the latter is charged. In fact, the two go hand in hand. That means they only recover the cost of teaching on local students. It is unfair to use taxpayers' money to fund the expenditure on research. I think that the non-local students should be charged in a way to recover the average total cost so as to reduce the taxpayers' burden. I so submit. Ms. Doreen Kong. President, I speak in support of Mr. Tang Fei's motion. We are a highly internationalized city. In 2023, in terms of the Global City Index, we ranked the 10th. That means we are competitive. But in terms of education, comparing to Western countries, we are lagging behind. In 2022, 950,000 international students received higher education in the U.S. In Hong Kong, between 2020 and 2021, according to the UGC's annual report, the 8 UGC-funded universities received 19,000 international students. For non-mainland international students, they accounted for only 30%. Now, that means we need to do more in order to live up to the strategy of leveraging overseas education resources and going global. That means we should take a targeted approach in adjusting our strategies. In terms of our culture, we be medium of instruction is English in higher education institutions. That means against its international background, we can attract overseas students. They can easily blend in. Now, in terms of business management, law schools, the students will have a lot of opportunities. In terms of quality of education, we have 5 universities in Hong Kong in the world top 100. These are advantages that we enjoy. We should make education an industry in order to build Hong Kong as an international education hub so that we can attract students who would otherwise go to countries such as Canada, UK, and US. We face keen competition. The government should have a clear idea about our unique positioning. We should be able to exercise differential positioning and address the pain points in attracting international students so that we tap the South Sea market and tap new sources. With high degree of complexities in the world, there is a greater demand for research and development. Hong Kong is an international financial center. We are also the cultural melting pot. So we enjoy this advantage. We also have universities operating cross-discipline, cross-subjects, such as green finance and ESG. More importantly, to build Hong Kong into an international education hub, it will fulfill our mission of grooming talents. It will provide a new impetus. That means we need a package of measures in the short, medium, and long term. In the short term, we should deploy more resources to mount external publicity. We should participate in the education fairs in other countries and provide more incentives to attract overseas students, such as scholarships and other bursaries and subsidies. Now, whilst the students are studying here, we should provide more exchange opportunities for non-local students to blend in. They should be given internship opportunities locally and in the mainland so that they understand fully the ample opportunities they enjoy if they stay here. After they graduate, we should draw up friendly policies and create more incentives for the younger generation to stay here so that with this package of measures we can help keep them here and attract international talents. Now, this is not just about education. It also hinges on population policy, employment, so on and so forth. It is affected by demographic change and cultural changes and socio-economic development. In mapping out our strategy, we must have regard to the latest development and actual circumstances. We should take a macro view so that we can draw up accurate policies and be able to win this race. I so submit.
Mr. Ronald Chen, Deputy President. Education is closely linked to national fortune. All our global powers are strong in education. The policy address last year proposes developing Hong Kong into an international education hub. The measures include raising the non-local student quota at local universities, among other measures. We have 63,200 visa students in Hong Kong. That's roughly a fifth of our local university population. But there are relatively few non-local students that are not from the mainland. So there's work to do. Turning education into an industry can also yield economic returns. So the government should take a coordinated approach in turning Hong Kong into an international education hub with the 8 centers. We can draw more students from other places that can help take forward the Northern Metropolis University town. This can also bring in new investments. Before the policy address came out last year, the 8 UGC-funded universities can have up to 20% non-local students. The UGC's information shows just over a fifth of the students at Hong Kong U and HKUST are non-local students, but the percentage at the other universities are lower. By having a higher non-local student quota, we can have a more internationalized student makeup. But then publicity falls short. Universities are not being targeted and proactive enough. Non-local students have to rely on their own networks, or rather, web pages, for information on Hong Kong's universities. So the official websites of universities matter. So the non-local students have to work on their own. Our universities rarely go on the offensive in promotion. Universities overseas go on road shows. That's not something our universities pursue. So we need a targeted approach to promotion before we can attract more non-local students. Let's look at the Belt and Road countries. With targeted measures, then we can have more non-local students. We need customized measures. Universities can invite teaching staff from the target countries and even students. Let's get them involved to create videos. We can have interactions online and offline. That way, we raise awareness of our universities. With growing awareness in the Belt and Road countries, we can take the internationalization at local universities to the next levels. The cost of living is high in Hong Kong with limited internship opportunities. Non-local students don't know much about Hong Kong. The result is that fewer and fewer non-local graduates stay in Hong Kong. And that's bad for promoting Hong Kong's tertiary education. So for our non-local graduates, we need to give them more internship and job opportunities so that they can become part of our community through work. Taking this step, we also give non-local graduates an experience of Hong Kong, and that in turn will help attract more students from those graduates' home countries. Let's also make use of the abundant education resources from the mainland. Hong Kong's universities can work with the mainland and have this N+N program structure. Let's let students take some courses in Hong Kong and complete the rest in the mainland so that we can make our programs more attractive. Our tertiary education has long been internationalized. We have 5 universities in the world's top 100. So we should do more to promote the brand of studying in China. I support Mr. Tang Fei's motion and the amendments. I so submit. Mr. Rock Chen. Deputy President, I need to make a declaration. I'm the chairman of the Hong Kong Council for Accreditation of Academic and Vocational Qualifications. I support Mr. Tang Fei's motion. We have 5 universities in the world's top 100. We have a diversified education system. We have what it takes to become an international education hub. To get there, we need to work harder in a few areas. First, let's make education an industry. We have UGC-funded universities and self-financing institutions. With these institutions, let's attract more non-local students to come here for our programs. This can promote the industry and boost our competitiveness and raise our profile. This can also yield economic returns and also draw more outstanding talent here. Let's look at other places. 2020 to 21, the UK generated more than £400 million through higher education. Most of that came from the tuition paid by visa students. Over the same period in Australia, they saw more than 29 billion Australian dollars in economic returns. And second, let's work with international partners and bring in overseas resources. Let's encourage partnerships between local universities and overseas institutions. Let's bring in top top-notch research talent. We can also provide concessions and get more overseas universities to set up campuses in our northern metropolis university town so that we have greater vibrancy here. Third, the government should also support local universities to go on road shows overseas. Let's go to ASEAN. Let's go to the higher education expos there. Let's promote Hong Kong's higher education and bring in more non-local students. Fourth, we need to take forward the Northern Metropolis University town. Let's provide tax and other perks so that more universities could set up a secondary campus there. Let's also work with industries. We bring research, academic, and industry sectors together so that they can provide more INT staff, better research, and also a higher level of commercialization of research outcomes. Fifth, we need to set up universities of applied sciences. Let's put VPAD on a par with academic education. Let's look at Switzerland and Germany. They have dual track systems. They offer an academic stream and a vocational stream side by side. That system can help generate more technical talent. Young people have different aspirations. For those aspiring to a technical field, we need to give them more options. So let's foster industry-institution collaboration and diversified pathways. The programs need to have a vocational focus. This means those programs need to be move in lockstep with the industry so that students pick up the skills and experience that the market needs. Deputy President, I so submit I support the motion and the amendment. Mr. Dennis Leung. Thank you, Deputy President. The National 14th Five-Year Plan sets out 8 centers for Hong Kong: International Finance Center, Innovation and Technology, East meets West Center for Cultural Exchange, International Trade, International Aviation, International Shipping, Regional Center for Legal Services and Dispute Resolution, Regional Intellectual Property Trading Center in the APEC. Now, Hong Kong needs to work with our country so that we create stronger impetus for growth and improve people's lives. We need a large pool of human resources, and that will help Hong Kong grow. That's why building Hong Kong into an international education hub formed a key part of the 2023 policy address. Hong Kong is the only world city with 5 universities in the world's top 100. Our higher education is highly internationalized. We have what it takes to turn education into an industry. We can rival the places in the US and Europe with famous universities. We can bring in students from the mainland and overseas. They earn a degree recognized by many places. These graduates can stay here or go back to their home countries. They can help tell good stories of Hong Kong. We have a falling birth rate and a shrinking population. That has an impact on the workforce. That also has an impact on Hong Kong's competitive edge. The policy address sets out 7 strategies. First, more government subsidies, and also that is a higher non-local student quota, more hostel places, more support for UGC-funded universities to expand campuses, and also more opportunities for visa students to stay here, and also more support for learning experience, and also the Northern Metropolis University town. I have some ideas. The government should work in the following areas so that we can become an international education hub and get more people to come here for studies. First, our universities need to offer more programs about the 8 centers. Let's set up joint programs with universities overseas. This way, visa students can earn 2 certificates or diplomas when they complete the programs. Let's build on our strength and offer unique programs. Joint programs can also feature overseas internships so that these programs become more sought after. Universities should enrich the content of programs. Let's have more practical aspects to those programs and internships so that students get to know employers, they learn more about industries. And let's get feedback from employers so that programs meet the needs of industries. Innovation and technology are a key piece of the puzzle. We need a lab integrating a university and a research facility so that the university can put more resources into research and our country can build strength and self-reliance in technology. The government needs to build more hostels for students so that students can enjoy hostel life. Let's find more land to build hostels so that non-local students can stay at hostels at lower rates. This can help bring in more non-local students. Continuous education is part of a growing trend. But transport fares are high in Hong Kong. The government should consider transport fare concessions for full-time students. Universities should also hold more events and competitions for students to build up capacity and also explore the use of new technologies. Deputy President, I support the motion and all amendments as so submit.
Mr. Adrian Ho. Thank you, Madam Deputy. Well, since the implementation of the national law, students can now learn more about the national law, constitutional law, and in future, I believe that Hong Kong should proactively nurture students' love of our country to enhance the uniqueness of Hong Kong's education. Hong Kong as a East meets West city has the capability to nurture talents so that the next generation can go global. Language is a very important factor. In November of last year, a Sweden Institute announced the 2023 English Proficiency Report showing that Hong Kong's English level is at a high level. But then it ranks 29th amongst the world. It only ranks 4th in Asia, behind Singapore, Philippines, and Malaysia. To enhance Hong Kong's education in reputation, English education is very important. Therefore, we suggest to actually recruit overseas teachers to come to Hong Kong to ensure that there are enough foreign or net teachers in Hong Kong in order to reduce embarrassments in wrong spelling or wrong pronunciations. I believe that we should ensure that students will be competent in both English and Chinese to show that we're unique in our language proficiency and also to ensure that we'll be able to act as a gateway between the mainland and overseas. I believe that as long as we're able to integrate our East and West uniqueness, we'll be able to promote the internationalization of Chinese language and to actually contribute to the building of Hong Kong into an international education hub. I so submit. Dr. So Jiang-Wing. Thank you. Deputy President. Education plays a very important role in long-term development and actually an important indicator for soft power. The DSE is now recognized by many different institutes around the world, and we do have many universities ranking amongst the top 10, and Hong Kong is the only city with 5 universities in the world top 100. From 2020 to 2023, the recurrent expense in education accounts for 18.1% of government expenditure, which is the largest in expenditure. But then our value added is only 1.2%, which is lower than Japan's 3.1% and Korea's 5.67%. And there is still huge room for improvement in industrialization and education. But looking at other countries, education has been developing rapidly. Education can actually help with domestic sales. A research shows that every 1% increase in mobile population, it will bring in 0.54% increase in GDP. Successful international education will play a very important role in development. Hong Kong faces low birth rate, and there is a lack of manpower and talents. If we could use education as a starting point, it could help with bringing profit in different industries and can help us retain talents in Hong Kong. Thus, I support Tang Fei's original motion and amendments moved by other members and suggest that the government be proactive in actively building Hong Kong into an international education hub. Hong Kong's 8 universities is attractive to mainland students and those from the Belt and Road countries. But other than these 8 universities, there are many other high-quality institutes as well. I suggest that self-finance institutes also be included. The government and the industry should consider providing for non-local students vocational and professional education diploma. Second, we should also open up more quota for primary and secondary students. We should open up our quota to students from the mainland, Macau, and Taiwan, and they should all pay for these educations out of their own pockets. Third, to open up more channels to increase our hostel places for students. As there is a lack of hostel places, many overseas students prefer to study elsewhere. Other than large-scale university hostel places, we should also open up hostel places such as granting land to build hostel places. We could also draw reference from other countries such as providing homestay family services. And fourth, we should campaign our education advantage abroad. The government should take up the role to promote education in Hong Kong, to raise awareness in the Hong Kong education brand, and to set up strategies to encourage local industries and institutes to provide internship opportunities. I so submit. Ms. Nixie Lam. Thank you, President. This motion